Special thanks to Rusty Saloon for sponsoring today's video. Rusty Saloon is a brand new skin gambling website for Rust skins with modes such as Roulette and Crash and a bunch more. If you want to try out the website, use code SVEN for a 50-cent starting bonus. Please gamble responsibly. Allow me to present to you the Mini Freak, a highly requested base after the success of the Freak V1. Now, the name says it all, this is basically a mini version of the Freak V1. If you are unfamiliar with that base design, I would recommend to check it out. It's definitely a cool base, but most of all, it's a bigger base for a bigger group. This one is for a smaller base. The Mini Freak is both multi-TC'd and socket stacked. That allowed me to create unlootable loot rooms. Because of the unlootables and the way the base is designed, it costs a significant amount of rockets to offline raid this base and fully get access to all the loot in it. Next to that, because of the multi-TC, it is actually impossible for raiders to grief your base and get building privilege unless they raid every single TC, and there are 6 in total. Now, next to all of that, this base has a double shooting floor, although it is relatively expensive for a base to have a double shooting floor. It has multiple bedrooms on both shooting floor for peaks, outside of peaks. And this one also has a newer style of building that I've recently started doing, which is by half walling out your peak down floor so that you can use windows to get peaks from your bedrooms. And the main idea for this concept that I'm using is actually that you can spawn in your bedroom, potentially take off a window and shoot the feet of raiders, and they're unable to shoot you. Now, losing peaks can happen a lot, although the peaks on this base are also honeycombed. So if you do end up losing your peek downs and you do end up losing the turrets on them, you still have a way to regain control of that, and that way regain control over a potential raid. Now that's enough talking. Let's jump into the base and allow me to give you guys a tour. Alright, so allow me to give you guys a tour of the base before I show you how to build it. Now, this base is relatively small. It does look like it has a double shooting floor, although as you notice is that there's no compound going around, and I usually do that in every video and it's usually the same, and so I don't cover it in this video particularly, but you could go for the embrasure, the barricade compound and connect the compound to that. So let's enter the base, and there's actually 3 ways in. There's 1 way on each side, and then there's the other 3 that are just honeycomb. So we enter the base and you'll straight up notice that there's a ladder hatch going up, and this ladder hatch actually allows you to go straight up to the peaks. There's also this little peak here, which is kind of like to control the inside of the peaks. Now you could put a bed here or a box, it doesn't really matter what. I would have a box just so you can look down. This peak here isn't directly anything you'd be defending the base from. As you can see, there's not a lot to see, but it's a very nice peak if raiders actually do open up the side of your base. If we enter the main peek down area, there's drop chests up here. Now, one thing that you notice is that my foundations are very high. I would not recommend to have them this high. The reason that they are metal as well. If you're building this base yourself, you should at least have your foundations so that you cannot crouch under. And this is where you can see the floor stacked foundations. We go straight up to the right, we have the TC. Now the TC bottom floor is fully honeycombed, except for this area where the pathway is. If we continue on, we go up. We have the main loot. And this is definitely the signature thing about this base. Because this loot room has unlootables. Now, what you want to do, and I'll explain that when I'm building the base, is you want to have these boxes and you want to make sure to code lock all of them. Make sure that all your teammates have the codes and then build this. And basically, you're not able to access those boxes if you don't have the codes. If people shoot them out, they're not able to access the pouches. And so they have to destroy this metal floor or this one. Actually, they have to destroy this one to get access to the boxes. Now, a lot of you will say you can splash. That is very true. But there's at least 3 times they have to blow to get all the loot. So what you want to do is put obviously your most important loot like below here. So it's very nice having that in your main loot. And if we go up here, You'll notice the double ladder hatch because of the floor stack. We go up here and we enter the main hub of the base, I like to call it. There's space for 2 beds here. You could cramp up more, but I would not recommend having your main beds here. It's fine like this though. The reason that these boxes are here is so you can peek down on your peaks. It's very, very important, I feel like, having these days. If you lose peaks, if raiders blow your peaks and you lose them, you have a way to regain access to them. And the way I place these batteries, and the reason they are here is basically because there was not really any other spot to put them. But the reason they are like this is so that you can still jump on this box and look down in your peaks. You notice that there's 3 ways out of this floor. So to show that it's once again floor stacked up here as well. Top downing this base is basically very, very expensive. Now you see that these are both the jump ups to the shooting floor and the ways into the peaks. They can fall down into the peaks. It's very standard peaks actually. You should be able to peek down basically on anything, wherever anyone is blowing. Now we have 3 bedrooms once again on the side here, and ultimately I'd say this base is for a 5-man, hence the 2 beds in the middle and then 3 on the side. You can once again go down here where we already were. There should be a box here. Regain access through these peaks as well, and if you want to go straight down in the compound, you can go out here. So very nice. Oh, if we go further up to the shooting floor, another bedroom here. I just placed as many beds as I would see fit. Also, there's a reason that there's no box placed right there. And that is so that this peak right here can both hold the way down and the peaks itself. We continue on. We notice there's another window. I like to use the windows these days a lot. Although I only like to use them in jump up areas. Because jump up areas are always areas that people are going to go through. Whether it's raiders or whether it's your own team. So we can continue and we have basically 3 times the same. So 3 ways up. 3 windows, 3 armored doors. Now these single doors are with garage doors are the way to the shooting floor. And there's also 3 of those, as you can see. And then the double doors are bedrooms. Now there's a reason that I use double doors, garage doors and armored doors. It is to remember easily where what is. If we go to the middle, you'll notice there's some half wall thing. And then there's a ladder hatch. The reason the ladder hatch is here is just so it's closed off. And if we continue going here, we have the roof defense hub. So I'd like to call it. I've been starting to do this in almost every base that I make. And it's a good spot to put beds and to put like extra kids. There's 3 bedrooms again. 6 beds in total. And if we go to the single door, we have the shooting floor. Shooting floor is actually very basic. It's double squares and a roof. Double squares and a roof. Normal shooting floor, normal peaks that I've used in previous bases as well. And the biggest difference with the base like this is that there's not really a way up through the core. As you can see, the whole core here is completely sealed off. The way to get to the shooting floor or to get to the roof is through one of these ladder hatches on the corners. We go up here and you will notice that we have a double shooting floor actually. Now this is very nice. This is like a head glitch spot. If you stand right there like this or crouch even depending on the angle, raiders that are down here can almost not shoot your head. So this window right there is actually very useful. They have some nice peaks here as well. As you notice, there's a little big gap here. You can't push through, you can't fit through anywhere. There's not a single way anyone can get here by pushing. So yeah, that's the shooting floor, and then there's 6 of those going around. Single doors go up to the roof. That is basically the base. I have 6 windmills just to show you how you can have 6 windmills on this base. And that's basically the base. It is a perfect base for like a 4-man. An active 4-man. It could be a very active 3-man, an active 4-man, or a casual 5 to 6-man. If you're 5 to 6 people, this base should easily be doable. Right, now for upkeep, the base is actually not that expensive for a trio base. I know it looks pretty big and it looks kind of aggressive when you look at it from the side. But the upkeep is split over 7 TCs. We have the main core and then 6 externals around. So just to show you what one external is on pure vanilla, it's 3.6k stone and 745 metal frags. You have to do that times 6. That is it. And then the main core is 13k metal and 3k stone and 76 HQM. So that is the upkeep. Now I did basically place every single door as well. So that is why the upkeep is a bit higher than usual in that sense. since it's split, you can actually get like 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 day upkeep on your externals and you're done. You don't have to farm for your externals for about 4 or 5 days. And on your main TC, you can easily get a day upkeep for sure. You can probably get 2 day upkeep on your main TC. So it's mostly the initial farming rather than the cost or like the upkeep of the base, which is very nice. Alright, now since this base is socket stacked or floor stacked, however you want to call it, we do need some kind of flat area. Now, you only need a flat area to do the actual stack on. So it doesn't have to be perfectly flat. So you can still do this base on a lot of uneven spots. But when you're doing the stack, and you should practice this, you should do it on somewhat flat area. Now, I'm just going to do a quick, simple stack. It actually does not really matter, but the I wouldn't do a too small gap. I know you can stack it better than this. But just to make it easy to loot the unlootables later on in the base, we have this stack. So what we do on the lower triangle, we continue building a circle around like that. You remove everything. We have the lower triangles here. Now from these triangles, we continue and we go around all the way. I'm gonna show you guys what you need from the top in a second. Now, one thing that you want to make sure is that you can place every single wall here. If you can, you did the stack right. That's most important. Now, you remove all these temporary twig built parts, so to say. And it is important to upgrade. Now, considering we're going to do starter to main, let's say we're building this on an actual wipe. I'd recommend to make this stone, put a door frame on any of them. Doesn't matter which one. Upgrade all of that as well. Put a roof on top and a door. Like this. We want the TC right here. For now, we're gonna have that. You could put an extra door frame right here. Or right here. Doesn't really matter. Put doors up. And that is your starter. Now, it is very, very important you at least upgrade one of these stacked foundations to stone. Because you cannot redo the stack. Well, you can, but it's going to make it really complicated. Now, if someone comes along and destroys all this twig, you can still do the entire foundation layout from that one triangle that you left stone. So this is the super simple starter of this base. Now, if you decide to if you want to have a bunker on this, you could. In my case, I cannot. But sometimes, if you do the stack lower, you can raise this foundation and you can raise this foundation higher, and you can necessarily create a bunker. Now, for the rest on this build video, I am going to be using the desired material that you should upgrade everything in. Obviously, in the start of your wipe, you're not gonna have armored, but for the rest of the video, we are. We're also going to be using stone for the outer core, for the outer shell around, I mean. Make sure that you upgrade this triangle under here to metal before you place this window, because you won't be able to reach it anymore after. That's like the only important thing, really. The frames don't really matter. I just like to have them all metal, at least for the core. Now, simple upgrade for the core. What we can do is have a loot room right there. And if you want to have a loot room right here. We are now going to build up the rest of the base. And this should be metal in the end. But for now, like in your actual starter, you're probably going to have this. What I would recommend is to have a wall here, but for now, I'm gonna do the ring around first. Decide also where do you want your way into the core. Now you can go around as far as you want, but I would recommend to not put too many. So we're gonna have it right here. Just make sure that the door out is not too close to this door right here. Now at this point, you can actually place frames, but what I would do is mark your next way up, which will be here. Put a floor there. If you have access to a garage door, place a garage door here. If you do not have access to a garage door, just place a double door there, just so that no one can come in. We're gonna put more frames here. Like this. And the wall here, we're gonna leave it open for now. For the rest, what you want to do is just completely go around with floors. Now we're also going to put a door here. Now this is like your starter upgrade. Now, the reason that we leave this all open and we don't have a wall here is since you're playing this in an actual wipe, this is all probably going to be stone and it should all be metal in the end. So what you do is you leave this all open until you have enough metal. And once you have enough metal, you start honeycombing this. For the rest, it is all done. Little note here, but on the way up, I accidentally sealed that in. It should obviously not be a triangle right here. Now, you can continue with the half walls here. And what you want to do is put a half wall like this. And continue on filling up the floor stack. If you want to make the base, this one can be a bit tough to place, by the way. As you can see, it is a little bit weird how it works. Like, there you go. If you want to be ultra try hard, we're gonna make this armor too, because why not? And what we want to do is put roofs or a floor on top. This is your starter upgrade. Now, at this point, for people that recognize this base from YouTube, they'd probably know that it's a relatively cheap rate to do. So it is very important to continue building up. But if you have the feeling you're going to get griefed, it is important to put the multi-TC parts of the base first. So what you need to do is from each side, and there's 6 sides in total, is you put a square, another square, another square, another square. So 4 plus 4. So we're going to have 8 squares in a triangle. Then we're going to remove all the squares going back. We're going to go back to the triangle. We're going to continue building back with triangles. If you do it right, there should be an exact space with a square that snaps to either side. You can see there's like a tiny snap. That's when you know it's good. Now you remove all these triangles, and for me they're all stone because of B grade. Doesn't matter. This is one part. Now what you want to do is you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how you do the external TC house, up to you. I'm just gonna have a simple one with the TC like that. What I would recommend though is to either put a door or a window and then expand it with another door frame and put maybe like a garage door here, just so it's not that cheap to get the TC. Now you want to do this one and then on all 6 sides, so 5 more times. Now once you're done with every single external TC, you want to align yourself with one of them and then build a square and a triangle to the right. You want to do that on each one. You want to make sure that you do it every time to the right when you're looking out from your base. It's very important because this triangle is initially part of this side of the base, while it continues on going over to the right. Now, as you know, some of you might think, yes, this triangle is not connected, and that is very true. That is why you're going to need to proceed building the next part of the base as well soon. Now, since this is a smaller grid base, I like to have 3 ways out and not 6. So we're going to have a single door with 2 windows. And then a wall and a frame. And we add this connecting wall, which makes it also so that that triangle is connected. And for the next part, we're just going to have this. And we continue. We're going to have another door with windows and a frame. Continue. Go around. Continue. 2 windows, doors, a big frame, and a wall. Continue again, and that is it. That's it. That's it for the first layer going around. Now, next is a bit up to what you want yourself. But first, we're gonna continue building up our core. Alright, my excuses for the quick switch here, but this video got corrupted where I built the part of the base. I basically rebuilt the entire base. It's just minus the multi-TCs, but that doesn't matter. Just follow this part along and you'll be fine. So what you want to do at this point is continue with walls all around. And you want to half wall a random part, like right there, for example. It doesn't really matter. And you want to segment out the rest into 6 parts. Show you guys from the top in a sec. Should be something like this. Jump up area, etc. At this point, you need to have the boxes and code locks ready. And what you want to do is you want to place the boxes as far forward in these areas. I figured it's easiest to do it like this. And then you want to code lock the boxes. You want to make sure that each of your teammate has the codes on the boxes. And once they have that, you can seal the unlootables off. So you go back to this half wall and you add a floor. As you can see, you can loot these. You can loot the boxes through this crack right here. And raiders have to blow that. Now you continue on with more boxes everywhere. Same idea. Code locks on them. And then triangle frames. You want to do it all the way around. Except where the jump up is. On a jump up, you want to continue with 1 at least. Put a frame. You You can actually continue with one here as well, but we have furnaces with a window. Now you want to put a roof on top of all of this, except for the opposite of the jump up. So this is the jump up, opposite side there's nothing, because here's going to be the tier 3. Now you want to add half walls, and go all the way around. What's also very useful to do is add the frames. Make sure these frames are attached to the bottom, not to that triangle right there. They can be a bit tough to place. Like that. Now these garage doors are replaceable, but you can place them for convenient reasons. And it's also important to continue the half wall segments further up, like that, because that's where the third layer of boxes will be. So boxes here and boxes up there. You can wall this off completely, except for the ladder hatch is going to be right there. Now you want to also half wall or like wall off. Right, there we go. Like that. And what you want to do now, and this is the part that I'm going to continue again with the old video. You want to place frames on here. Now these can be really hard to place as well. So make sure you do this all at once so that you can still remove these triangles if you have to. It is just a bit more convenient. It is also very important that when you place these frames, you put the garage doors and you make sure you code lock them. Then you put the floors, put the ladder hatch right there. It's actually a double ladder hatch. So what we will be doing is we will be doing this. Go back under there. You should be able to do it like that. And then another ladder hatch right there. Like that. And then we completely seal off the inside. That's why we have to place these garage doors first, because can't place them, you can't replace those either. That's the only downside of this base. Now in here, what you can do to finish it off is you can wall off the loot rooms entirely like that to fill in the last stack. Should be all doable from the inside. So you do all that, that's done. I will continue back with the original video. Now I like to have, I'm gonna just decide quickly here where I want my ways to the peaks. Now I want 3 pathways. I don't want one here, so we're gonna start by adding one here, continuing one here, and we're continuing on here. So it's exactly mirrored 3 sides. Now next to the way up, I want to do a window. And I actually want to do a window everywhere. So I want to do windows all around. Like that. And you can't place this garage door already. You don't have to. And what you can also do is temporarily, for now, put glass on these windows. Just so no one can get in. Now I also like to continue on by expanding these walls upwards. You can see they're kind of tough to place, so I'm looking downwards. And once you have done that, we can safely add the floor stack, the final floor stack. Now, it is probably going to be hard. Actually, you're fine here. This is the way you can do it with the ladder hatches. And now for this one in the middle, we are going to continue the floor stack. That's why these garage doors go inside of this floor. That's why you cannot replace those. It's the only ones that you can't replace, unfortunately. Now also, we continue by flooring this off. And we continue by flooring this off. And we continue by flooring this off. And we basically completely sealed off the base. Plus on that, there's literally no way you can see that this base is floor stacked at all. Now continuing on the ring around, what I like to have is floor triangles like that. Now it depends on how high your initial triangles are. As you can see, mine are basically too high. They should be lower. If the triangles are on the good height, you can place these triangles higher, like this height. And then you can add these ramps. Now this part right here, where there's no door, there's a door there, no door here, door there, no door. So there's 3 of those areas. You could decide to just fully honeycomb it. You could also decide to incorporate some kind of drop chests, which is kind of nice. So I have 3 drop chests like that, and then continue a honeycomb, and we're just gonna do the drop chests. Now that is the whole layer around. This part of the honeycomb is not required to be built up in the start. Now at the front door, I like to have a ladder hatch going there. So when you come in to the right, continuing on, what we can do is completely wall this off and completely go around. Although on this part right here, what you want to do is you want to go around. So you don't want to put the walls right there. This one we want to wall it off again. And on this one we go around again. Now, for this part right here, what you want to do is 2 half walls, remove the bottom walls, and put 2 low walls like that. And then put another frame right there. Right, now for the third layer, the third floor, we continue walls here. Once again, we go around here. Now for peaks, we're gonna attach peaks to the core, and as you notice, they're a half wall lower than the garage door. On each side, we're going to connect them to the core. And it can be a bit tough to place like this. I know I'm flying, but you can place twig right there temporarily. Now for the corner ones, as you notice, for this one, you can't attach the core. So you have to place a temporary wall right there. So you can place this one, and then you can remove that wall again. For the corners, we attach to the outside wall right there. What you can also do if you like, it's not 100% required yet, but on the finished product, you should have this. You should wall off or segment out the peaks here. I would recommend to not put full wall, or like put walls like all the way up, because if a raider's in here, you're basically not really going to be able to see him if there's 2 garage doors here. But I usually don't have garage doors on both sides. I usually put like 1 garage door on like the left frame, and then the right frame is open. And so if a raider is down there, you can still see him. Then you put these kind of segments all around, and you continue also on the top with 2 more frames. That is the finished product. Now on these bedrooms, on the side where the ladder hatch gap is, you can either put the window on there, or you can put the window on there. It depends, whatever you like. I'm gonna have it here because we're gonna be able to stand on top of the ladder hatch anyways. Now we continue with adding a roof on top of the bedrooms, first of all. And we can actually also completely wall off the peaks. Just make sure that these squares are attached correctly. As you can see, we can attach them to the right there and to the middle here. It's important that they are attached to TC right there. So initially it's a centered piece with a triangle connected on the right from the core every time. Now it is very, very important that you place this correctly. As you can see, it's all equal. It's all the same. This honeycomb you can always add later, but just for like building or video reasons, I'm gonna add the final honeycomb as well, which should all go up to this floor. Now once we are done with that, we can create the other layer going around. On the core here, I like to have another half wall layer, and this is kind of like the buffer area to create an equal stack. As you can see, we can't place a floor or like a half wall here, and that's because there's a frame down here. Now in the middle here, there is not. As you can see, we can place those frames. Don't place them because you won't be able to place the garage doors. But what we can do is we can create this. And make sure you place all of these for stability reasons. We can't do this one, but we can do these. This floor is basically like to fully get rid of the stack. We can continue by adding these. I fill this all in with triangles, and now we have completely gotten rid of any potential floor stack blocking. Now it is important to realize where you want your ways up. I want 3 ways up, and on this floor you can also have bedrooms if you are a deeper group, so to say. Now we have the garage door here, and I want the way up to be like this, and we wall it completely off like that. So this is 1 jump up. Now there should be 3 because there's 3 garage doors. Now on the triangles, and there are 6 of those, there should be half walls with a floor in here. It's very, very important. So we continue. Same thing. Another half wall with a floor. Now we have the garage door here, so we do another jump up. Building. Now we can close everything off, and obviously I'm going to start actually with the squares because it's easy. So 2 squares on those. There's a jump up there, so only a square there. 2 squares again, only a square there. 2 squares again, 1 square again. And then we do the triangles, and once again, triangle has to be connected. As you can see, we can actually not even place it wrong here. So these are should be pretty easy to place. We fill in all the triangles, and there's 3 ways up. Now this is shooting floor level. We're going to be creating the shooting floor now. The shooting floor is relatively easy. On each long end, we put 2 squares. Now what you want to do is you want to stand on top of one of these corners and try and place this roof right here. It can be a bit tricky to place this roof, and that is why it's important that you don't forget to place these triangles in here on half wall height. So we continue. Wherever the roofs are going towards the shooting floor, there should be double door frames. like this, and then we fill the rest up, on the squares at least, with windows. Now, since this is a relatively small base, I don't really like to use windows around on the shooting floor. What we are going to be doing is we're just going to be using full walls. Now, every time where there is no jump up, we're gonna put a single door. We're gonna do it on the right, so it's basically all mirrored, like that. Now, as a tip-top thing, we're gonna put another door frame here, in between where the windows are. And then we can completely close these off, at least. Now we continue on, and in the middle I like to have some kind of defense pot. Kind of, you could almost call it like that. What you want to do is you want to create 2 triangles like that. 2 triangles like that. Floors on top of that. And wherever you have the in thingy, it goes in, you put 2 frames. Now what we do is with windows, we go all the way around. In the middle, we put 2 frames for extra stability. And we put a roof on top, like that. Now, for the ways down, I like to have a window, so you could potentially hold it. Put a window, put 2 frames, and 2 walls, like that. And we do that on each side, so it's the same. It's like mirrored, basically. Now here, you could also put a window and then a door there and a door there. So you can hold it, but you can also just put a door here, 2, and a wall, and make this one of your bedroom. As you can see, there's a crack here. It's really easy fix. We just put a stone frame, and there's basically no way anyone from your shooting floor can look in. Actually, for stability reasons, we're just going to continue with frames, and we will end up with something like this. Now, especially on these ends where you can get into this middle pod, we put 2 frames like that. We do the same on the other side. That's basically it for like the inside of the shooting floor. We're going to start with the inner ring with the triangles. As you can see, the name of this thing, the defense pod, you can both basically defend your shooting floor from here and your roof at the same time. We're going to continue with the squares here first, because it's the easiest. And then once again, these triangles, and you cannot really mess them up again. They're connected to from the inside on your right hand side. And now for the way up to the roof, to the shooting floor, we're going to have a gap right there. And this one should also be connected to the right. Should be possible to do. So we have something like this. Now we need to put a window on each of these roofs. You can also do it from the inside. No worries about that. And for the final part on the roof, we're gonna do a single door frame like that. And 2 frames on the sides. 2 windows, and continue that pattern. There's something that will happen that you might actually experience. And that is the fact that stability in this game is weird. Now I can place these, but it could be likely that you're not able to place those. So what you need to do is you want to make sure that whatever frames that I place in the video, you place as well. You can also go down here to your front door and place 2 frames here in the middle, like on these foundations. Now do the same 1 floor above and the same 1 floor above as well. Make sure you have these frames in the peaks. Make sure you have frames like in the middle. Actually, this middle part of the shooting floor is matter. Make sure you have all the frames here. Make sure you have these frames here. It's all very important to have for the stability to work up here. Another thing that you could try to do, and it's really weird the way it works, but you could attach this triangle there, put a frame like this, and then remove this frame, and somehow this triangle will stay. You can do something like this. Now, it doesn't matter which side this triangle is attached to, although I like to have it attached to the right. And on top of the window, you're supposed to have a low wall. You can also do a half wall, actually. Either way, we continue with putting frames or roofs like this. And that is basically the finished product of this base. There's a couple of more things that we can do, aka windmill towers. For windmill towers, you're not going to have a lot of stability doing them on these. But what you can actually do is do them like this. So to the right. And do that like 6 times if you do want 6 windmills. Or 3 times if you want 3 windmills. Now, that was it for this one. I hope you enjoyed this video and this base particularly. I actually used it in one of my upcoming videos. Although, unfortunately, I did not really get the chance yet to get a proper raid defense in it. Now the base has a lot of potential and most likely is a lot of fun to defend a raid from, and I hope you guys get the chance to. Now if you do, make sure to let me know, and if you have some feedback on the base, make sure to let me know as well in the comments. There's a lot more videos coming soon, including tips and tricks videos, next to more gameplay videos and more base build videos, of course. I can't wait to share with you all what I've been working on. Now that's it for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please like and leave a comment, and if you want to see more, please subscribe to my channel. See you all in the next one. Take care.